We're talking about the Blab. No, we just kind of announced
Okay,
it.
hey everybody. Jason Hodge here with Jennifer, the Grant Guru. Okay, Jen, the Grant Guru. We're talking all things nonprofit, sustainability, marketing, exposure. We're just really putting it out there and getting you ready for the masterclass that is coming up on Thursday. This Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is 7 p.m. See, I'm getting my Central Time right. 7 p.m. Central Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're really excited about this. There is so much work that is going on in the background. I'm telling you, when you get in there, your hair is going to curl. And if you have curly hair, it's going to straighten. We are putting it down in there. There is so much stuff. So anyway, I just want to introduce you to Jen, the Grant Guru. Great friend of mine, and we are partnering up to do this thing to really bring a new conversation to the nonprofit world. It is time for this conversation. There are nonprofits who are struggling right now unnecessarily, and it's all not because of funding, it's because there's not the proper plan in place. Not only the plan to run the structure of their organization, but the plan to run the sustainability of their organization, the conversations around that, the partnerships and collaborations that have to happen behind the scenes. We're going to flesh those conversations out. So I want to welcome you all, and I want to welcome Jen to this conversation. It's informal. This is just a shot across the bow, if you will, before the actual masterclass where we dive in. All right, so let's go, Jen.
Thank you
welcome.
so much, the Jason Hodge. So for those of you guys who might be new to me, I am Jennifer Yarbrough, also known as Jen, the Grant Guru. I've got only 30 years of experience. I am a nonprofit expert. And when Jason and I decided to enthusiastically begin this collaboration of pooling together his expertise in media, production, documentation, just everything that he has done in the area of excelling and exceeding as the media hacker. I mean, this man is a genius when it comes to media production, promotion, and so forth. Over 20 plus years and my 30 years, we thought this was the opportunity of a lifetime to change the platform for nonprofit organizations. I can speak to my 30 years having been a master trainer for organizations that I've worked with, professional fundraising organizations, the best in the country, where we are now able to raise the bar in pouring into nonprofit leadership. I was sharing with Jason how over the years, in my areas of trainings, we've talked so much about the what to do. And we have not spent the quality time needed on the how to do it. And unfortunately, a lot of nonprofits who have not been able to afford professional staff, who've not been able to gain the knowledge on their own, they left those trainings struggling with the how to. And so Jason and I had a lot of conversations about making sure that out of this masterclass, people left with the how to, not just what to do. You already know you need money. You know you need collaborations. You know you need media presence. You know that already. But it's the how to that we will be focusing on Thursday. And so we are excited to be able to share with you all the planning, and not just the planning for the sake of a plan, but how to actually leverage that plan for real impact. Leverage that plan for real impact. Y'all know I talk every day about impact. And Jason has been showing that to us. His message is impact. And so on a foundational level, we are looking forward to reestablish a strong foundation for nonprofit organizations for long-term sustainability. We are looking to work with those organizations who are interested in not just surviving, but having a plan for sustaining. So that's what we're going to be talking about on Thursday.
Absolutely. And let me tell you something, okay? When Jen and I got to talking and I realized this was an opportunity to really geek out. Now, Jen, have I been geeking out? I've been geeking out. I've been geeking out in the background. And so it's just one of those timely conversations. You know, when you realize that there are 1.8 million nonprofit organizations in this country alone. And a good 7% of those will close every single year. That is 126,000 a year on average, around, well, a little bit more now, but on average 345, give or take, per day. Okay. That's a lot of organizations that are just closing their doors unnecessarily. And it's all because they don't have the plans in place. They don't have the forethought to understand, hey, you know what? We need to actually plan in sustainability. Let's not just run a charity here. Let's run an organization that is actually going to impact our world and leave a legacy so that we can now continue to grow people that we've opened our doors to grow. So we want to make sure that this is put in the annals of history, of NPO history, that here is not only a plan and a process, but we're going to show you just what we're doing live. Now, for those of you who have been following the process, you know, Jen has been masterfully taking her class through the experience of my project with the YMCA. You know, I'm doing a partnership with them that started out with the 5-week pilot. It is now parlayed into the whole year. And I'm working with youth, and we're doing some pretty amazing things around media and mentorship, which, you know, of course, that's my background and that's my heart, my passion, to show youth how to take what's in their heads, what's in their hearts, put it down on the screen, and then to turn a profit off of it. So we're doing that now. We've got great mentors, a great team of mentors, Jen being one of them in the background, to work with our youth in order to show them, hey, you know what? This is how you do it. Not just what to do. This is how you do it. So we're stepping them through the process, and we're stepping you through the process at the same time. So it's like a win-win, win-win scenario there. And I love the 4-way wins. You know, it's awesome like that. So we're doing this blab today just to kind of give you a heads up, a little taste of what we're going to be doing inside the masterclass. And let me tell you, the structure on that is coming together. And I'm not hyping. I'm just very excited about it. I'm very excited about it. But we're diving into. Matter of fact, I have a list. I have a list of things because I want to make sure I don't miss out on anything.
And I gotta say to you guys, this list has grown every day. Every day we have gone from, oh my gosh, Jason, we told the people 4 hours. We cannot keep them 8 hours. It is really going to be 4 hours of deep dive. Into your organizational structure, your organizational systems, and then your organizational plan. Because it's all on the structure, the system, and the plan that you can build sustainability. And so we are going into every single area of those things to give you all, not just on the day of, but how about some pre-work? Y'all, there's only 7 pages of pre-work. So you all need to know that we are not playing when we're coming to this masterclass. We are serious about the business of making sure that you all have the tools and that you know how to use the tools, that you know how to pass the tools on to other people that need to help you build an organization that is sustainable. Oh yeah, this is the most serious training ever in the history of nonprofit training.
Look, if you look in the dictionary under the word serious, you're going to see the marketing creative for a nonprofit masterclass right there, right in the definition. It has now taken on the new meaning of the word serious. It's seriously is serious. All right. Let me tell them real quick just some of the stuff we're going to cover, Jen. I can't contain this anymore. I'm so excited. Okay. So we're going to go over not only, talking about live stream when it comes to your nonprofit, and anybody who has been following Jen and been in her class and has been following my process, you will see just what live stream can be and the type of impact that it can have immediately. Talk about immediate credibility, talk about immediate collaboration, talk about immediate partnerships. You all were seeing, if you were following the process, you were seeing me create collaborations and partnerships on the fly, okay? There was no, now you get this form and all that. No, these were quick conversations, and I was able to compress the time that I would normally have to take weeks or maybe even months to establish those type of relationships. I was able to truncate that in a matter of seconds. Now, Jen, you saw it just as clear as everybody else. A matter of seconds, folks. Okay, so it's the combination of using the mediums that you have, digital media, live stream media, and really knowing what you're doing. Okay, understanding what you're there for, being clear on your particular focus, and then going for it, and making sure that it aligns with the clear focus of the organizations that you are connecting with, the businesses that you're connecting with, the people that you're connecting with. You have to understand what they resonate with and then be able to tap into that with your verbiage, your languaging, and then immediately establish that rapport and then parlay that into further conversations. That's exactly what you saw firsthand live. Okay, so for anybody who was just kind of wondering, well, what does Jason do? This is what I do. This is what I do. All right, so we're going to be going over media planning. We're going to go over marketing, optimization, documentation, communication, monetization and sales, automation and scale, different tools that can really help expedite your processes. We're going to go over funnel systems and asset building and collaborations. We're going to go over strategic partnerships, strategic alliances and leverage. We're going to go over research and finance and funding. We're going to go over resources, end goal objectives, and setting a clear path. We're going to go over processes and support and story selling. Okay, not storytelling, story selling. All right, very big difference. We're going to go over the mining process. Now, Jen and I both believe that every part of your organization should be turning a profit. Every part of your organization should be in the black. And that way, you don't have one part, which is just the sales or the connections portion of your organization, doing all of the heavy lifting. Everybody in your organization should be doing the heavy lifting, but they can't do that if they're not clear. They don't understand your messaging. They don't understand your direction. They don't understand the pathway that that they need to take to get there. We're going to go over that. How do you get your board? How do you get your volunteers? How do you get your organization wide very clear on what you do and why you're doing it to move them to action, to evangelize you? We're going to go over the proofing. How do you make sure that what you have in your mind, between your ears, in your heart, is actually good for the marketplace? Well, there's a proofing process that you have to do. There's a proofing process that you have to go through to make sure that you're not wasting your money, your time, and your energy. And beyond that, the energy, time, and money, the resources of those who pour into your organization. Because that could be the difference between you being on this side of the bars or the other side doing that 6 o'clock perp walk, on the 6 o'clock news. Seriously. And then we're going to go over scale, reach, growth, and sustainability, and then the overall plan. Okay, that's kind of a nutshell, but it's just a very small portion of that nutshell of what we're going over. 4 hours, y'all. You guys are going to put us through the paces on the 4 hours. Okay, Jen, go ahead. I had to let that. I had to let it out. And
what I'm afraid of is that the more he lets out, that means there's more to come in. But Jason, they're wanting to know about sharing the link in their groups. I am going to say that I'll be hosting a blab at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time today as well. But I want to share something that Jason touched upon. You guys, I want you to understand that not only do I talk about nonprofit organizations, but I've worked in the nonprofit organization. So I am very familiar with the day-to-day. All right. I'm the day-to-day of the staff person and the day-to-day of the executive leader. All right. I've shared that I have held every single job in the nonprofit organization. So I know firsthand in several organizations in my 30 years that when I'm speaking to you about how systems work, I'm not talking in a silo. I am talking from a place of this is how the leadership should be steering the boat of staff, of volunteers, of board members, of collaborators in order to bring about the message, the impact that needs to be shared from all areas of the nonprofit. So when Jason talks about all areas of the nonprofit should be involved in fundraising, that's very true. Okay, so there has to be the process of how does the staff, how do the staff participate in fundraising? When I put together strategic plans for the organizations that I have led, every single position has a functionality of fundraising, of participating and leveraging the organization for sustainability. Okay. And so I'm going to be speaking from a place of how do you incorporate that into job descriptions?
Did we lose Jen? Ah, okay. Okay, is that frozen for everybody? Am I the frozen one or is Jen the frozen one? Oh, just Jen? Okay, good deal, good deal. All right, so Jen will probably be popping back in, but I can pick up where she left off because look, we're good like that. So yeah, we're going to be going so deep, hitting all of the different aspects of the nonprofit organization. There's a conversation that happens interdepartmentally. There's a conversation that happens cross organizations. You have to know who your strategic partners are, how you leverage those relationships, how you connect with your community at large, and how you get buy-in. How you get buy-in how you get buy-in from those who are coming alongside your organization to support. It's a matter of setting up the infrastructure in such a way, setting up an infrastructure in such a way that you have support upon support upon support. It is layer upon layer of support. And also, like if you guys were watching, following Jen, you would see every time that my kids came up with an idea. Okay, Jen's coming back in. Every time that my kids came up with an idea, things that they wanted to do, I say, okay, that's great. How are you making money on that? Okay, here's Jen. Let's see.
Hey.
All right, sis, I picked up where you left off, so go ahead.
I was just saying how it's important that everyone within the organization understands their role in making sure that the organization is sustainable. That's their role, okay? And so in this class, we're going to talk about not just the part of the plan of what it is that we're going to do, but how are you communicating that plan to others within your organization so that your board meetings now are more effective and functional, because now you understand what it is that we need to be doing as an organization. We understand within the time periods of our goals how that's going to happen. And many, unfortunately, organizations are not operating with that depth of information. And I think it's just because they've not been professionally developed in that area. And they're not functioning in that way. Why? Because they've not been professionally developed by a person who's done it. So who is it that they're listening to? Who is it that is pouring into them the process and the functions for sustainability, right? Yes. Listen, I know a lot of things that I don't know, but this I do know. Having raised hundreds of millions of dollars for nonprofit organizations and knowing what it takes, not just from the large organization, from those that are just starting out, the systems of every nonprofit is the same. Yes. What's also the same for those who've been successful is that they have a plan and they know how to operate that plan. And so Jason and I have put our crazy brains or our master brains, I'm not quite sure on any given day,
crazy master brains,
what it's going to take to leverage every area of your organizations for real long-term success. And we're not talking for success as if we hope that there will be success. No, we are talking about success from a place of we are planning for success. And we know the tools and the instruments that it's going to take for that success to be achievable. And unfortunately, a lot of organizations are kind of like hoping for success without being able to look at benchmarks to say, are we on target for success? Are we on target to reach our goals? Are we strategically and thoughtfully and within our capacity to have this level of success? And I say, yes, you are, with the right plan, with the right strategy, with the right professional information. We're not talking from a place of, listen, we want you to go and get a big old binder and go put it down. No, these are actionable steps that are going to be put on a calendar.
That's right.
That are to guide you for sustainability long term.
And let's talk about that real quick, Jen. And you might have another browser tab open because I'm hearing like an echo.
Okay.
Just in case. Check it out. Okay, so here's the deal. Now, when it comes down to it, there's so much mystery surrounded around a very simple thing. Once you know what your metrics are, once you know what your conversions are, then it's a matter of your scale or refining your targeting. Give you a good example. If you know that every 100 people that you talk to, one of them says yes and funds you, and you know that, well, I need to have 10 funders, well, then you know that you need to talk to 1,000 people. So the time frame in which you get to your end goal objective is all going to be determined on how fast, how soon you can get in front of the 1,000 people. If you know that it's 100 people and you have a conversion ratio of 1, right? So when you break it down to those simple things, you get your messaging down, understand your marketplace, understand the conversation that your market needs for you to have in order for them to say, yes, I got it. Yes, absolutely. Here's my wallet. How much do you need? Then once you have that in mind, you say, okay, my goal, I got to get behind in front of 1,000 people every single week. Every week I got to get in front of 1,000 people. Well, what is that broken down into? Well, if you're doing a 5-day work week, 200 people, 200 touches. Well, how do you make that efficient? How do you utilize the digital tools that will get you in front of those 200? We're going to talk about that on Thursday. It's very simple. It's very simple. Okay.
It is.
Now, and let me explain one more thing, Jen. One more thing. Okay. When you get into that mad scientist mode, right? There's something that happens where everything else goes out of the window. I don't know when the last time I ate, but I do know one thing. The stuff that's going in there, no hype intended, the stuff that is going into this masterclass is going to literally blow your minds because it is very simple, but it's a very deliberate thing that you have to structure in order to make it simple and efficient. We are absolutely going to take you there. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, guys, listen, many of us speak from a place of, what you have to do alone, particularly if you are the executive director, if you are the leader. And I am one that believes that you cannot lead alone, right? So what's big for me is the opportunity to take the information and share it. Share it with your board members. Share it with your key volunteers. Share it with your staff if you have to, all right? And put it in the context of as more people come into your organization, they understand your purpose. They understand the vision. They understand what it is that you all are achieving. And then you are educating, you are equipping, you are building leaders. You are taking your organization with greater impact, all right? You are sharing with them the relevant, you're not bringing, you guys know what it's like to come into a job and they have not prepared to train you properly, right? They only tell you the little pieces that they like, right? And they'll inundate you with the stuff they don't like, but they're not training you from the place of speaking the message of the organization, because your organizations are built upon messaging. Because your organizations are relying upon community perception of what you do and how you do it, you want to be able to equip your board members, your key staff. You want to be able to equip them with the proper messaging, all right? Not just hearsay, not what you think. It's not that, oh, yeah, I'm with them, but they do great work, but I don't know what they do. No, this is going to help you understand exactly the facts. And how then do you equip those leaders? If they're not paid, they're volunteers. They're board members. How are you giving them the tools that is needed to move forward, to help you spread the messaging, okay? So Jason is talking about how do you reach 1,000 people if it's you and you're so busy running your organization, you're busy, doing program. How do you do that? You share the message that's clear. You got to get it out of your head. which is what a lot of what the pre-work is going to do. And then now we put it into a systematic process of helping you spread the word about what you do, the value of what you do, the impact of what you do, and the call to action, doggone it. Y'all know we can't just tell people what we do without telling them how they can be involved. How are they going to be involved? How are they going to be involved as a leader? How are they going to be involved as a collaborator? How are they going to be involved as a grantor or a funder? These are the things, guys, that we need to break down in order for you all to build upon the platform of reach, not just with the media, but with the media. How are you leveraging this reach? And that is where I'm so excited to be partnering with Jason, because he is going to help us get that reach together, y'all, and then help us build the right conversation as it pertains to that reach. Not just the reach for the fact of informing, but it's the reach of informing and now engaging and now inviting, all right? Now thanking, keeping them, and it's not always, hey, we need. No, this is just a reach to celebrate. This is a reach to say thank you. This is a message. It's those key messages that Jason, with his areas of expertise of only 20 years plus, is going to share with us. As a nonprofit world, I know firsthand that this is not the training that is being done and provided. And we are super excited. We are super excited. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
It is. It totally is. And let me tell you, as I'm sitting here trying to field all of the responses and stuff here, but I'm so keyed into what you're saying, Jen. You know, this is what I love about this. And let me tell you, is that when you really are into your stuff, you really know your stuff, you really feel your stuff, you really believe your stuff, there is no script required. Okay. Yeah, I have my list of things because I wanted to make sure that I got, you know, the litany of things that, you know, I wanted to mention here, you know, those points. But the fact of the matter is this. There's a conversation and a level of that conversation that needs to take place. The organization that I partnered up with the YMCA to run my program through this summer, the pilot program, the way that they resonated, what they do, impacted me so deeply that I was able to speak as their ambassador, as their representative, even though I am technically not a part of their organization. That has to be some pretty powerful entrainment for them to be able to relay the essence of who they are to those who come to partner with them. You need to have that for your own organization. You need to be so infectious, so viral with your messaging that when people think about you, they're like, oh, yes, that organization, they do this, they do that, they do the other. They're all over the place. You're always seen, and you're seen in a positive light in a way where they can't do anything but to think of positive ways to partner with you. How can we support that organization? You want yourself to be so infectious that people want to throw money your way. I remember an organization that I did an interview. I used to interview a lot of organizations back in the day. And this organization stayed in the black. A matter of fact, this organization was supported by a foundation. And it was irrevocable. It was just, this is set up for this organization. So when it came to the programs that they wanted to implement in order to benefit their community, their clients, they were able to do it like that. When it came to the ways that they wanted to stretch out and help other organizations, they were able to do it like that. So what did that do? That created relevance inside of their space. They were not only the organization that was known to do amazing work for their clients, but also the organization that was the hub organization to buffer other organizations. Guess what that did for them? Other organizations began to speak about them as well. So now they were being marketed not only from the client standpoint, but they were being marketed from the interorganizational standpoint. That grew their own celebrity. It grew their reach. It grew their their power to be able to do things, to affect change, to move policy. There's so many things that go into that. You want that to be the same thing for your organization. You want to know how to do that? I popped the link in there. I'm going to pop another link in there. Head to the masterclass. The link is right there, because I'm telling you folks, we're not messing around. Everybody who has gotten the pre-work so far, they're probably not on this broadcast right now. Do you know why? They have 29 points that they have to go over to figure out where their holes are in their organization, where their holes are in their planning, their thinking, their concept, the clarity around who they are as an organization. Where are the holes? And where are the strengths? How powerfully is their message resonating so that they can relay that to their marketplace? 29 points. And it seems like a very simple thing. When you get it, Jen, it's like, okay, seems like that's 7 pages. Well, 2 of the pages is just the statements and all that they have to figure out how they resonate with, and they have to answer. But the assignment to that, the process of doing that, they have to ferret out what is at their core beliefs, the core values, what's going on internally, and how are they effectively relaying that message. If you can't effectively relay your message to your marketplace, you're pretty much dead in the water. Reason is because nobody's going to believe in you. You're not going to have the rapport. You're not going to have the ability to now transfer that enthusiasm that you have, the passion that you have, with a backup plan, the plan in place that says, this is how I'm going to take the passion that I have and make it actually happen, to make it manifest in this world today. You're not going to be able to do that. And folks do not want to. I don't care if it's regular people or if it's corporations, they're not going to put their money into an open sieve. They need to have an organization that already understands the impact that they're going to bring to the marketplace. How do you do that? Well, it goes through the proofing process. And they have to be able to relay it effectively so that they're not the only organization, they're not the only corporation giving to that organization. If you come to me and I say, okay, you tell me, hey, I need $10,000. I'm going to ask, well, who else have you asked? Who else has said yes? Now, if you can bring me some yeses, then I may be interested in saying, okay, it looks like you may have some grasp of sustainability. I don't want to give you my money, though, if you're going to close next year, because there's many other. Remember, we already said 1.8 million organizations in the United States alone where I could be giving my money to. I could be giving my resources to. I could be giving my time and energy to. What makes you, out of that 1.8 million, worthy of my hard-earned blood, sweat, and tears, that cash flow? What makes you, what makes you a viable organization to take my resources on? What makes you that organization? If you cannot articulate your impact, then we don't have a conversation. If you can articulate your impact, however, now we have a conversation, but you have a conversation now between you and me and all of the other organizations that can articulate their impact. Now comes the real race. You've now made it past that 80% that Jen is going to talk about, the 80% of the grants and things that don't even get reviewed because they can't articulate impact.
I do. So guys, this is the key to this whole thing, is that you have to be able to respond, not react. You all have to be in the position to respond to the need in a thoughtful, strategic way. Unfortunately, organizations tend to kind of function, either well or not, thinking that their program is responding. The activity is not impact, right? And the activity as it relates to the community in which you serve. So what we want to do is equip you with how to be leaders from the front. Leaders and communicating your role as leaders, as saying, listen, we are aware of the need. Not only are we meeting the need, but we are responding back the value of our being the experts in this industry, whatever your area of service is, okay? But not only that, you are speaking from a place of now goals. You are speaking from the place of, we know the need, these are the goals that we're going to meet, and this is how you as a community are going to benefit, are going to be acknowledged, and can support us. Those organizations
Exactly.
that just want to be the Band-Aid, as it was mentioned, are just saying, listen, we know that there's something going on here, and this is what we're trying to do to reach it. No, you are speaking from a place of we are responding like a first responder, okay?
Exactly.
We are responding with the right answers, the right methodology, the right program activities that not only warrant your support, but that with added support, we would have greater impact. I was sharing with Jason, and you guys may have heard me say this on my Periscopes, that 30 years ago when I started this work, probably about 8 years in, the United Way gave a lot of money for impact training for their boards. They gave specific trainings for outcomes management. Only 30 years. Outcomes management was key. And for years, until that funding ran out, there was focus and emphasis on showing your value to the funders. Showing your value to the funders.
Exactly.
The funds ran out. However, the expectation never went away. I was reading an article just yesterday that said more funds are coming into the nonprofit sector in 2015-16 than in 12 and 13. However, the focus of those funds are now being geared to those organizations who are better equipped to share impact. Not everybody. It's not going to be just because you have a nonprofit that you can be a part of that increase in funding. It is those that are able to demonstrate consistency in their ability to deliver. And unfortunately, guys, if you are not in a position to speak about your plan, speak about your goals and your capacity to reach those goals, and communicate to those funders that you are one of the ones that should be considered for that ongoing designated earmarked funding, you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out. And that does not come from, let me just sit here on my own by myself without a board that's functioning, without volunteers that I'm communicating to and showing how to be leaders. You are not in position to receive those funds that are there. They're there.
That's right.
Those partnerships and collaborations are there. Now that the economy has turned around, more businesses have been created, more jobs have been created. It is showing in the nonprofit world that funds are available, but only for those organizations that are systematically in position to leverage this. Okay. So
right.
Jason and I are now, we're not talking to y'all. We're not reacting. Jason and I are responding. We understand the trends of this industry. Jason, having done this for over 20 years, and myself, who understands the ebbs and flows, guys, we are trying to put you in position for the end of the year funding. If you are not in position to leverage what is there, it's because you've not made the investment in yourself. It's not because it's not there. But if you don't know how can you expect to?
And let's talk about that investment real quick, Jen, okay? Let's talk about this drop in the bucket investment. All right. Now, Jen and I, we've talked about just what is out there in the form of training, okay? In the form of training out there. And Jen has been to different training sites where they charge $7,000 and they don't even cover 1/10 of what we're covering. Not even 1/10 of what we're covering. So now this is the only time that you will ever see this price point. Okay. I'm not even going to say the price point because we're going to repurpose this. All right. And we're going to talk about repurposing inside the masterclass. But I'm not going to say the price point, but inside of that clickable link, you will see what the price point is right now. And at $7,000, coming out of that, not knowing how to implement digital strategies, marketing, live streaming, how to implement the proper use of social media and how you leverage different platforms. You know, there's over 680 platforms out there, and most people deal with like 5, and they don't understand that there is a wealth of platforms that you can be growing your business on. But you kind of stick to, oh, well, you know, we got to do Instagram, we got to do Facebook, you know, there's so much out there. And it's just a matter of having the right conversation formatted for that marketplace, your marketplace on those different platforms in order to get the conversions. So if everybody is over in Facebook, right, it's got, you know, 1.5 billion people or so on there. If everybody's over on Facebook, why don't you pop over to Reddit? Why don't you pop over to Quora? Why don't you leverage WordPress? Oh, wait a minute. You probably don't know how to do that yet, right? How to leverage the WordPress community. There are so many different ways that you can easily get in front of your marketplace. And why so frantic? Have you noticed that there's so much frantic activity online when it comes to buy my stuff? Because you figure, oh, you know what? If you don't buy it from here, I'm not going to get the sale. Instead of realizing, hey, you know what? This is a process. It's an infrastructure that you're setting up. When you understand that you've got to build your foundation properly, and so long as you're not building it properly, you still got to have to take that time, or you're going to have to pay for it to get done, one of the two, but it still has to be done. If you want something that is sustainable, a sustainable business, you will find that every time that you dive in to now lay the concrete. You know, I was talking to one of my friends the other day. She's a guru in Pinterest, right? And so she was taking me through, you know, she's a coach in one of the arenas that I'm working on in life. And she was like, okay, Jason, you're mixing the concrete right now. Mm-hmm. This is not going to be a fast process, but it's a sure process. You have to go through it. Now, I went through kicking and screaming. And so she put me through a grueling 48 hours worth of content absorption. She was merciless. I was working that thing like a job, 8 hours a day, notes, videos, questions, over and over and over until I got to the end of it. And then she was like, okay, good. Now you're ready to move on to the beginning level. And I was like, what? Okay. Why did I tell you that? I told you that because if you are in that mindset that you're going to do this thing quickly, then you don't even click on the link. Okay. It's a process. And if you're going to do it right, then these are the people that we want inside of the masterclass. Because ultimately, look, your results are going to positively or negatively affect, what do you call it? Negatively reflect what it is that we do. And we don't want any negative reflections. We want people who are going to go in there and do the work. You do the work, you will get the results. If you fudge around with it, though, what's going to happen is you're going to get frustrated because you're going to try and take shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. Okay, I want to get that in your head right now. There are no shortcuts to success. So buy a system already in place and then learn the system, or go through the process of getting that system in place, which is the better way to go, because then you will know it frontwards and backwards, in and out, and you can speak to any level of it. Okay, I'll tell you this, then I'm going to pass back over to Jen. Okay, my background, I grew up in the entertainment industry. You know, my parents were execs in the music world, right? So I learned a lot of stuff firsthand. I learned a lot of things seeing campaigns put together, all of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you never see. You never see what it takes to actually make an artist famous. There's a lot that goes into it. There's heavy rotation that has to go into music that you hear, because off the hand, you know, you don't really like the music initially. There are some that are just a hit right away, but for the most part, you are programmed to like that music. And so there's a lot of money that is spent to get that to happen. There is industries and industries and industries that work together in concert. Okay, and I say that intentionally, in concert, to make the sales. And the same thing goes true for the NPO world or any other industry. There is a series of industries that have to converge in order to make whatever you're doing have the platform and the prowess to make it into where you ultimately want to be. When you understand it, though, from the foundation, you can see exactly, oh, okay, that's there. Okay, that's there at this level. Okay, so this is what I need to do. This is how I need to maneuver that. These are the things we're going to be diving into, these concepts, these nuances. Okay, it's not mechanics that you're after. It's the dynamics. How do you have those relevant conversations where people can say, wow, I can really feel what they're saying? And when they can feel it, the next thing they want to know is, okay, well, can I see the passion? What's the plan in place? How are you going to get there? How are you really going to get there? Now, if you could bring the plan out and say, well, this is how we're going to do it, then you're going to get your yeses. When I brought the idea to the YMCA about doing this media mentorship program, the first message was, hey, this is, have you guys, what are you guys doing around media and youth and mentorship? And the response was like, nothing, what do you have in mind? So I said, this is what I have in mind. I said, it's an 18-year program that I developed, a while ago, 18 years, right? And this is what it's supposed to do. This is what it's designed to do, okay? It's not like, well, we think it's going to do this. No, it's designed specifically to do this. And this is how we're going to do it. It's 5 phases. The phases start out with this. It goes to this, it goes to this, it goes to this. And then the 5th phase does this. And so then it was so compelling that they were like, wow, you know what? We need to meet on this. I was like, how about tomorrow morning? So we met the next morning at a Starbucks. Okay. Look, and don't sleep on the Starbucks. Don't sleep on the bar meetings. Don't sleep on any of those meetings. If somebody says, let's meet in a back alley somewhere, make sure it's well lit. As long as a viable person meet, right? And sit and flesh your thing out. Look, there have been more deals that have been made on the back of paper napkins, on paper bags and all of that. And it's because you're clear. You're clear on what your message is. You know where you're going. And when you are that clear, they really don't care what you're wearing. They don't even care if your breath smells good, to tell you the truth, okay? To be funny, but seriously, there's a lot of stinky breath people who are very rich because they have very clear understanding of where they're going. So when you bring that clarity to the table, into that conversation, then you can say, this is what it is, and this is how it works. This is what the impact will be, and this is what the legacy involved with this is going to be. What ends up happening is you get the yes, and then the next thing is like, when can you start? We had initially said, okay, maybe fall, but after I met with them in person, then it was like, how soon can you start? Can you start this summer? I know this is like short notice, but can you start this summer? And I was like, yeah, I could start this summer. Didn't know what I was getting into because it was a pilot. It was just a plan on paper. But the plan, I had digested it. I had consumed this plan over 18 years when I put it on the shelf in the first place and said, man, you know what? When this thing launches, this is what it's going to do. This is the impact it's going to make in the world. It's going to go global. It's going to do this. So I already see the big picture. So when I introduced it and they said yes, then it was a matter of like, wow, okay, I've got that opening. Now the key is to get that opening to widen up as much as possible. Have more conversations, make more connections, get more partners, get more mentors, bolster this thing up, set that infrastructure up in a way where it is so rock solid that it can be taken anywhere and imposed anywhere, and it still lasts because it is its own entity. Are you doing that for your organization? If you're not doing that for your organization, you're doing your organization a disservice, because your organization deserves to have you be its biggest advocate. And if you're not getting the training that you need to be its biggest advocate, if you're not understanding the nuances that have to take place behind the scenes to be its biggest advocate, then you, my friend, are damaging the future of your organization, and you need to stop it. Okay, not to get preachy on you, I'm just very passionate about this. You gotta really plug in, and at this price point right here, you're never in life ever gonna see something like this. We could put a 0 behind the price point and it would still be worth it. You could still then times it by 10, it will still be worth it. Okay, that's how serious this is. So this is our beginning offering into the marketplace of this type of training that has never been seen. Jen has been at the highest levels of training in the nonprofit world, has trained at the highest levels in the nonprofit world, has trained thousands of organizations, okay, has raised hundreds of millions of dollars. And when she looked at this and when she started collaborating, we got together and we were both blown. Our minds have been blown since we started these conversations, like, oh my gosh. Mine, because I'm like, you know what? Intentional media It does not exist at this level. Hers, because it's like they don't have anything like this in the nonprofit world. What a combination. What an opportunity for you. And I'm serious. I'm not being condescending at all. I'm just saying, what an opportunity for you to really get the goods, to get it at a level that it's not trained on. Look, I do a YouTube training right now, and we cover 33 points of optimization, okay? 33 points of optimization. People tend to talk about maybe 5, maybe 7 if you're lucky. 33 points. We're hitting 29 points of deep-seated information that you need to know about you, your nonprofit organization, your partners, your stakeholders. This is a vetting of your own processes just in the pre-work alone, so that when you get into the masterclass, we can hit the ground running and say, okay, good, we're at 90, let's take it to 180. That's what it's about, folks. All right, okay. Let me quiet down. I just,
Guys, I want to tell you that Jason and I have had these marathon conversations about how to pull back, right? Pull back. We got to be able to put this all together, which is how and why we came up with the pre-work, because we're so intentional about not only you guys effectively doing the work, but I am all about evaluation. I am all about evaluating what works and what does not work. Unfortunately, I talk to a lot of nonprofit organizations who get started and did not evaluate. Do they have the capacity to start moving forward once they start? They did not evaluate who should be on their board. They did not evaluate how they were going to fund not just the program, but their organization on an ongoing basis, okay? So I get the phone calls that start with, Jen, I need money. And my thing is, well, why don't you have money? What happened to the money? What happened to the plan for the money? How did we get here? We did not evaluate. We did not assess. We did not make any strategic thought around, once we get my nonprofit, all I thought I needed was a grant. And that's not true.
Yes.
Or I put my friends, my organization together, and I did not know that they had roles and responsibilities. Guys, a part of why the pre-work is so critical is that it gets to the foundation of why and what and how you need to do things. And everything that you do after that, everything that you do to address that needs then now to be evaluated to that. Are we on target? Are we doing what we should be doing? Where are the adjustments that need to be made? How have we gone off target? And I know you guys know nonprofit organizations that may have started a year ago with great plans in theory, not a real plan, but a thought, an idea, and a passion.
That's right.
And a passion, but did not have the systems to evaluate, are we on target?
Yes.
And if we're not on target, how then are we to make the adjustments? Guys, I can tell you that my biggest lesson in this was 9/11. When I was working for Girl Scouts of the USA, I had just gotten off a plane that the night before on the 10th, had just come up out of the tunnel. The whole world of nonprofit fundraising changed in a moment, not just the world. I mean, everything changed. Everything changed. It was a devastating day. But just to bring it into a simple context of nonprofit fundraising, everything in New York was going to the 9/11 fund. Everything. And when I tell you that fund was set up within minutes, you talk about first responders. You talk about now this is ready. You're going to either the American Red Cross or you're going to the 911 fund. All right. All of the messaging that was relevant, that was intentional, that was necessary, was pouring funds needing to respond to this crisis. But what about the rest of the organizations in New York that have to continue to function, that have to continue to thrive, that have salaries, that have to continue to function? We had to go into the deepest depths of what we knew about messaging in order to respond, to say, we are relevant.
Yes.
We are relevant. We are necessary. Our work is critical. Guys, in order to assess the strength of your plan, it has to be against a crisis. If your plan right now is in crisis around your organization, you don't have funds. What is your crisis plan to overcome that? You have to have a plan. There has to be clarity of messaging. There has to be the ability to do the work around this crisis. And that is what Jason and I have put together. Because if you can't respond in the time of your organizational crisis, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to funding, when it comes to partnerships and collaborations, listen, it's because you don't know how. And that's not a slant. I'm just saying, we as professionals had to pull it together. If you have no experience in the area of fundraising, in the area of engaging, in the area, then how are you going to do that? Come on now. In an organization where we had a department that had to strategize to keep this master organization together. We're the headquarters. We got to keep going. Listen, and we're not providing the services to the little girls. Y'all love supporting the little girls because your girls are in the troops. Your girls are at the local level. Your girls are out there selling the cookies. But we're at the national level. Who cares about national? Who cares about if we function or not? Guys, I'm telling you, when I came to Jason, and the more we talked, the more we spoke, I said, Jason, what I know about nonprofit organizations in my 30 years of doing this work is that they are in crisis and they don't know how to communicate themselves out of this crisis. They don't know the tips. They don't know the systems. They don't know the tools that they have.
Yes.
You already have it. That you now need to understand how to put it into a plan. A plan that is marketed, a plan that is measured, a plan that is reviewed. Jason, in his program that we've been following, you can see how his plan had to have adjustments. When he hit areas that he had to all of a sudden turn on a dime, make changes, make alterations to move forward, your organization should have a plan that is that thought out, that it is not hinged upon one way of doing it. There is a plan. There is a process. We understand what else we need to do in order to move this program forward. Many organizations that I talk to every day, they are stumped because they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. This is an opportunity to get your systems, your plan, and your communication in place. And if you don't want to. Just say, I don't want to. I don't want to do it. I don't want to learn how to do it because the opportunity is now. I'm telling you, on the landscape of nonprofit training, I promise you, this level of intentionality around showing nonprofit organizations, not just what to do, but the pre-work alone is going to show you and give you great insight into how to do it. We are interested in investing our 50 plus years of experience into leaders that want to take your organization from concept of being great to now intentionality. How are you going to have great impact in your, it doesn't happen overnight. And many people think I can skip the process. Jason was talking about process. I can skip this process. I don't really need to put, real people on my board. I don't need to understand fundraising. All I need is a grant. You're skipping the process that cannot be skipped.
That's right.
It cannot be skipped. It cannot be skipped. There's no shortcut to sustainability. If you skip over communication, then you skipped over how am I reaching out to my community to let them know the value that we bring to this area and to the people that we serve. If you skip over leadership, how then am I affecting change in the organization that I'm leading, and then speaking to other leaders in the community about the value that we do? If you skip over funding, how then is your organization going to have the means of support that it needs to thrive? There is no part of this process that you can skip in order to build credibility, viability, all right, and sustainability. That's just the truth of it. And I've only been doing this for 30 years, y'all. I'm a real simple girl. I'm real simple. I don't understand deep, all right? Jason gets into his geeky mode, and I'm like, I don't get this, Jason. This is beyond my sphere. But listen, I trust a man who not only talks about it with passion, but does it, demonstrates it, all right? So Jason and I are not talking to you all from a place of passion. We are going to demonstrate for you how this can be done within your organization.
And here's the thing, y'all. And I've been hearing this go around social media and all that. And I'm going to speak to this really quick. Okay, really quick. I'm going to jump on it and then jump right back off. And Jennifer and I had this conversation because, I hear a lot of people say, well, you absolutely need a website and this, that, and the other. And you have to, all these things that you, quote unquote, have to have and have to do in order to be successful and all of that. And I'm going to debunk all of the myths. I know many of people who do not have website, nary the one, who make multiple millions of dollars every single year. It's just they travel a different lane. Okay. Another thing. Years ago, I was reading I was reading or listening to a broadcast. They kind of transposed to me, but they were a chain store of grocery stores in South America that came up, and they wanted to meet with Sam Walton of Walmart, right? Remember the story, Jen? So they get to the airport, and then, so a car comes to pick them up. It was an old beat up truck and this, that, and the other. So they get in the truck and they're like, okay, so, Sam must have sent somebody to pick us up, this, that, and the other. They're driving back to, Sam Walton's place. And then next thing, they started talking and then so they're like, yeah, so, when are we going to meet Sam and all of that? So then the driver looks at them and says, I am Sam. So Sam Walton was driving an old beat up truck. And so he wasn't, styling and profiling and all of that. That was not his thing, because that ceased to be the important thing for him. He was about growth, about scale, and he just handled his business. Too many of us get so caught up in the appearance of stuff, we totally miss the substance of what the person is saying. Okay, we miss the substance of who the person is. So I want to encourage you, start listening with your heart and your ears and put the BS meter on. Okay, not to be too crass, but put that meter on and decipher what is being said. Put it to the litmus test. If they're saying this based on just somebody else's suppositions, then you need to kind of check yourself on that. Because there is a real world that's out there that existed way before social media. Okay. There's a real world that existed before Google. There's a real world that existed before there was anything called a website. So you've got to understand that real world still exists, and it's still very valuable, still very powerful, and big deals are being made on those platforms that will never ever see a digital platform. Okay. What you're doing on the digital space is simply a vehicle to get you in front of the yes conversation. It's just a tool. And the sooner that you get that in your mind, that if you can use a mule or a donkey and a letter, to get to your yes, use the donkey and the letter. But don't get stuck thinking that you have to have certain things in order to get your yeses, to get your deals. It's just not true. Okay? It's just not true. So With that said, we're going to talk about the stuff that really matters so that if you decide to implement it on a website, great, so be it. If you decide to impose it on digital platforms, so be it. If you decide to implement it on just conversations, well-placed conversations in front of people who move masses, so be it. The key is to get clear on what it is, to understand what your plan is, to understand all the checks and balances that have to be in place, all of the things, the crossed T's and the dotted I's that you need to have, so that when you do get your audience in front of those who can say yes and mean a big deal for you, you're ready for that. Okay.
Can I add, Jason?
Yes, you
that
may.
Not only getting in front of them, that's key, but it's getting in front of them and being able to speak to what they need to hear.
Yes. Yes.
Many times we approach people based on what we want, as opposed to what is it that they need to hear about our organization. The key to successful fundraising, the key to successful relationship development is listening. And many times we are speaking from our place of need, as opposed to listening from a place of how can I show you the opportunity?
Yes.
Because if in fact your message is clear and powerful and impactful, and if what you are doing is strategic and thoughtful and forward thinking, then you are listening for the opportunity to invest or to interject in the conversation your opportunity for partnership. Now, that is what Jason did when he was talking to this partnerships with the Y. All right. You guys know I'm older than Google. I've been around doing this thing before there was websites. When I started fundraising, there were no websites. There were no social media. There was none of that. There was no Google. There was no AOL. There was none of that when I started this work. Okay. What has remained consistent with these tools that help us convey a powerful message is that people buy into the opportunity that they see themselves in furthering that message, be it a volunteer, be it a donor, be it a collaboration, be it funding, whatever that is. So those of us who are even using, I read an article yesterday where it said organizations that have websites and utilize the email campaigns, that 50% of them are not utilizing email campaigns because they don't have the relevant content to communicate to their donors, to their partners. They don't understand the systems of putting together relevant messaging that is going to educate, inform. And this is why, guys, a lot of the marketing companies that target nonprofit organizations who know they don't have a clue of how to leverage their own message, which is why they then go out and hire some of these big marketing companies to run their mail campaigns, and they come up and create messaging for them to do this very thing. Now, y'all done paid all that. Y'all know how I feel about hiring grant writers now. These people are not invested in your success. They are invested in giving you the 0.1% return on that investment. All right. You got to pay them a whole lot of money for posts, and they are coming up with your message.
Exactly.
I think it's crazy, but people do it, and that's what they do. It's the business. I want you all to understand your message, because if you don't have a piece of paper in hand, and if they will not go to your website, they are not going to wait for an email to come into their mailbox. Are you able to speak to them in a meeting, in an opportunity that Jason found himself at a Starbucks? We're just sitting here having a conversation. Am I prepared to respond with my message that is going to invite, educate, transform your thinking, engage you to a place where you want to come closer to our organization? And unfortunately, guys, a lot of organizations that I talk to are not in position for that conversation. So you have a website. How are you utilizing your website?
Right.
So you want an email campaign. What are you going to say in that email campaign? So you want them to go to your website. What do you want them to leave your website doing? They went. Now what? Now what do you want them to do? How are you following up on that conversation? These are the things that Jason and I are going to cover on Thursday. It's the messaging. It's the reach. It's the way that you are inviting people to see what you are doing as relevant, as necessary, and how then should they see themselves as responding. But you first have got to know your organization. You have got to know the areas where you are weak, those areas that need to be focused and strengthened. And this has to be intentional, guys.
Yes.
This does not you don't react to this kind of stuff. You come prepared for that conversation.
Yes.
You come prepared with this conversation.
And Jen, speaking of invite, if you all have not invited people to this blab, share it out now. Okay. Don't just take all this good knowledge for yourself. And you know, we're bringing it today. Okay. This is no fluff. This is a no fluff blab. Invite your folks because they need to hear this. They deserve to hear this, and they deserve to hear it at your hand. Okay. They deserve to hear it at your hand. Okay. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you. I was just going to say, guys, that a lot of your great work is not being communicated because you're not clear on how to communicate it. When I speak to you on the phone and I say, tell me about what you do, tell me about your plan, it goes into this long diatribe of what you want to do, what you're trying to do, what you're passionate about. And that is not going to engage a donor. A donor, a collaborator, a partner, a prospective funder. Your passion is one thing, but how do we transition your passion to the plan? Not only the plan, but how do you see yourself being involved in this plan? How can you interject yourself into this plan? Because every communication, be it from the board to the volunteer to the director, has got to be, how am I engaging, inviting, informing, educating the people that I'm not serving? I say this every day on Periscope. The people that are going to support your organizations are not in your program. They're not in your program. So how then do you invite, involve, educate, inform those within your community from a place of being proactive? Right. Stepping into conversations and sharing the relevance of your organization. And again, guys, a lot of it is from you are not trained on how to communicate your impact. All right. Listen, in 30 years of doing this work, guys, when we are talking to funders, we don't know who we're talking to. When we are standing in the line at the grocery store and someone asks us on a plane, what do you do? We don't know what they do. I have been on planes with people and they say, so tell me what you do. And I said, tell me what you do. And they go into this long, and I say, oh yeah, I'm a professional fundraiser. Oh my gosh, the eyes light up and they're like, let me tell you what I do. But what am I listening for? Right. As a professional fundraiser, I'm listening to how can I help you raise some money? But if all you're talking about is what you don't have and your problem and you don't have a plan, I'm thinking, I can't help you. I can't help you. I cannot help you if you don't have a plan. I cannot help you if you don't have impact that you can share. You've missed your opportunity because I'm always listening, y'all. I'm always listening. So how can I help you? You need my help? Oh, you can't use my help. You don't even know what to do with my help. Exactly. I'm telling you guys, you don't know who you're speaking to. And when they ask you, what do? You tell them. And if you don't have it, you need to be in this class to learn how to do it. That's right. Real life.
That's right. Absolutely. And you know, and it's kind of funny because I remember when I asked Jen to be a part of my mentor team, right? Now, do you think she would have said yes if that wasn't clear? If I couldn't articulate, especially as much as Jen talks about articulating impact, being clear on your message. So when she said yes, I was like, whoo, I got it. I must be impact, speaking this clearly. But it just goes to show, though, that you do have to take it very seriously. You have to take what you do very seriously, and you have to guard it like you would guard your own kids. because it really is your baby. And with your baby, you do whatever is necessary in order for that baby to flourish. And so your organization, especially when it's starting off, it has to get traction. You've got to feed it. You've got to bathe it. You've got to make sure that it gets the best of everything so that it can grow properly. You know, go try and not feed your kid, when it's first born, and see what happens. The kid's going to scream and cry, and hopefully you get to it before it expires. But babies need nurturing, and your organization needs nurturing. Parents now, fortunately, they go to parenting classes. Okay, well, let's talk to some of the experts to find out, okay, what are some of the great ways to implement and engage our kids, to raise our kids, to give our kids what they need in order to flourish. When we had our kids, we found the Your Baby Can Read program and put them in front of that. So they were all reading before the age of 2. But it's all intentional. You have to actively and proactively go out for the things that are going to benefit your organization. Okay. Again, another shameless plug. I'm plugging the URL in there for the masterclass. You all, like I said, it will never be this price again. It will never be this raw again either. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're going to go in and just kind of let it all fly. And it's your opportunity to ask your relevant questions to us instead of waiting for when it comes out on a pre-recorded platform, to where, you can glean from the information that's in there and figure out, okay, how does this apply to my organization? But when you're in the room and you already see the energy just on the surface of what we're doing here on the Blab. This is nothing. This is nothing compared to what we're bringing to the class on Thursday. All right. And I'm not even remotely exaggerating. Jen, am I exaggerating?
No, unfortunately.
No, I'm not exaggerating. Yeah, I know, unfortunately, I'm not.
The word is hydrate for Thursday.
Yes, hydrate, get your proteins in, because you're going to need both of it.
Because it's going to be 4 hours of intensity. Now, listen, this is the part that I think brings the most, well, maybe not the most, it brings a great value. Mm-hmm. Is that when you come prepared with your question, you are coming prepared with real questions, not questions responding exclusively to what we've said in the class, but because of the pre-work that you are going to be completing prior to the class, you are going to come prepared to say, listen, these are areas that I have not thought about in my organization. I have not even begun to think about this process. Now you have that. You have a context by which to say, this is the basis of my question. And not only am I getting an answer, but you are getting the answer and knowing how to plug it into the plan. You're not just getting an answer for the sake of, oh, that's my answer. Like people say to me, Jen, can you find me grants? And I say, yeah, I can find you grants. And then it's like, is that the real question you want to ask me? I'm not sure that's the right question.
Right.
But because you don't understand the context of how to put that question, I could say, yeah, I know how to get you grants. Now what? Are you ready to get grants? Do you have a program that is in position to be funded? Then that is, no, I need to get that together. No, I need to. I'm like, well, then why did you ask me that question? The proper question would have been, Jen, can you help me make sure that my program is in position to receive grant funding? Now that is the proper question. But Jen, do you research grants and can you get me grant funding? Yes. Is that the answer that you want? No, that's not the answer that you want. But through the pre-work that you are going to get, you are going to be able to formulate the proper question to get the proper answer to help your organizations move forward with the right information.
Yes.
And I'm telling you guys, this thing is not put together by happenstance. Jason and I have had more conversations about out of space, opportunities to move this training, that we are so excited that those of you who say yes to your organizations
Yes.
and say, finally, yes to getting over your fears of not knowing. I get this conversation every day. I just didn't know. I didn't know what to do first. I didn't know how to. I wanted to, but I didn't know how to.
Mm-hmm.
When you say yes to, now I understand how to, your mind is going to be renewed.
Yes.
Your organizations are never going to be the same. And I'm not hyping. I'm telling you by fact.
Yeah.
Of what I know nonprofit trainings should do, don't do, but what this one will do over and above.
Yes.
That's going to change your life. Now, listen, if you say, Jen, I'm not ready, I'm not sure I'm ready, I'm just, I'm still on this fence, please share it with others who are ready, who've been saying, we've had people say to us, I have been praying for this information. I have been praying for this. This is the answer to prayer right here. This is going to change the landscape of nonprofits all day long, all night long, every day of every week. It's going to change the landscape.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I'm so excited about this.
I can't take it.
I'm so excited about this. I don't know if you all can tell that I'm excited, but I'm extremely excited.
Do you all have any questions for us? Do you have anything that you just got burning? We hope that we have just given you a little glimpse. I mean, we can't go into 4 hours here on this platform, but the level and the intentionality of what we are doing and what we together is by far the best thing that's going to be ever appreciated.
And Jen, while we're waiting on those questions, let go back over. I'm going to do a recap of the things that we're going to be covering. Okay? And for those who just are popping in or this from the end. Okay, so we'll be covering everything from live stream media, social media, automation and content marketing. We're going to be moving into the media planning, the planning process, the marketing, optimization, documentation, communication, monetization and sales, automation and scale, tools, funnels, systems. Hold on one second. Okay. Funnel systems, asset building, collaborations. We're going to go into strategic partnerships and strategic alliances, leverage, research, finance, funding, resources, end goal objectives, setting a clear path. We're going to go into processes and support, story selling, very important. Mining, the mining process. How do you mine your business? How do you make every one of your departments operate in the black? Okay, profitable. We're going to talk about proofing, the proofing process, scale, reach, growth, and sustainability, putting the whole plan together. We're talking about every aspect, and not to mention the 29-point pre-work process that you will take before class. The minute that you sign up is when you get that pre-work mailed to you. That pre-work, you go through it and look, get some coffee, do whatever you have to do. Go through that pre-work, answer those questions or create these statements around those 29 statements, and then really understand where you are inside of your process, inside of the position that you are in with your nonprofit. If you work for a nonprofit, have started a nonprofit, want to start a nonprofit, or want to run a program or a project in a nonprofit, that pre-work is going to get you straight. Okay, it's going to get you straight. So we're going to be covering all of those things, plus the fundamentals of your nonprofit, getting it started and all that, the things that you need to be thinking of, things you need to be looking for, setting the right foundation so that you, beyond all other nonprofits, even the ones that are existing today that are successful, you will have the edge on them because you will have what they don't have, which is not only the information, the foundation, but you also have the flexibility, understanding how to leverage the digital platforms, how to structure your whole marketing schematic so that you know that at the drop of a dime, you could send out a series of pieces, with a very few short actions that can get you 10,000, 11,000, 100,000 impressions like that. And that's serious stuff we're going to talk about here. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not for the folks who want to play around with it. If you notice, I haven't been on Scope lately. It's because I've been in the trenches. You see this in the background? That's trench stuff. Okay. I've been in the trenches. Okay. I'll just say that and I'll leave it at that. But it's been a grueling process and a very good process. I've been loving every second of it. I've been on the phone with Jen so often over this time. And I'm like, I sure hope she doesn't get sick of me calling her. But my gosh, nobody else will understand how exciting I am, how excited this is, right? I'm so excited about this and I need to tell somebody. So I called Jen, okay, here's what we got. Look at this. And then she throws stuff in there. I was like, oh my gosh. So it's just a mind blow over mind blow. So look, if you have gotten anything from what we have said today, just this surface skim of what's going on, if this resonates with you, then you have to know that the masterclass is right for you. Okay. And this is if you're serious. Now, if you're not serious, we can't speak to that. But if you are serious, you want to get your stuff right. So jump on in to the masterclass. Let me go ahead and pop that link back in there. Okay. Not to be too salesy, y'all.
Serious.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's talk about serious, because
yes.
many of us think that, we are serious when we send off our 501c3.
Exactly.
Many of us think that we're serious when we put together our bylaws. Many of us think we're serious when we put together our board. Now, when does it get serious? It gets serious when you don't have the funding to deliver your program. Then it gets serious. All right?
Yes.
So when we talk about seriousness, all elements of programming, the expenses that are serious about programming, and how then are we going to raise the money to deliver this program? Now that's serious.
That is very serious.
And then how are you going to get the collaboration for those non-designated dollars to pay yourself? Because, everybody wants to get them. Now that's serious. And how and what are the means by which you're going to do this on a sustained basis?
Right.
That's serious.
Yes.
Now, we make the decision, either I'm going to get serious about not only delivering my passion, but seriously raising the income that it's going to take to deliver this thing effectively and impactfully. That's serious. And when I decide to invest in what I don't know, if I've never run an organization, if I've never put together a board, if I've never fundraised, if I've never built a team of people around my passion, all of that is serious.
Yes.
If you make the decision, I don't want to learn the how to. I want you not to be able to walk away and say, I wasn't serious enough to invest in what I don't know.
Yes.
Now, that's serious.
That is serious.
Because when you then call someone like myself and say, I don't have the money, I need a grant. When do you need the grant? I need the grant by the end of August. That's not going to happen, first of all. But now it got serious. What all of a sudden made it serious?
Yes.
Or, Jen, I need you to help me with a fundraiser. Well, when do you need to have the money? By the end of August. Was it serious? What's going to happen at the end of August? So once that money is spent at the end of August, what is the plan after the end of August? When does it get serious that you invest in long-term sustainability and not these quick, short gaps of I need one grant? That's not going to help you. I need one fundraiser. That's not going to help you. You have not seriously considered the business of not only organizing, but supporting your organization. And not only supporting your organization, but leveraging the impact of your organization. Yes. All right? We're not talking to people who are not serious because, that's just
time for it.
We are
time for it.
Those who really want to take the value of our 50 plus years of experience and learning from experts who are not just talking about the work, who have done the work.
Yes.
And we're not talking to you from a place of get into this class and then we shoot a carrot in front of you and keep pulling you in for more. The pre-work alone is worth the admission. The pre-work alone is worth the admission.
Hands down. Hands down. Hands down.
Listen, my classes combined and with my one-on-one is more than this class.
Mm-hmm.
My one-on-one for 90 minutes is more than this class.
Mm-hmm.
So you are now getting my 30 years, Jason's 20 plus years for 4 hours? Really?
Mm-hmm.
And we are pouring into you what it takes for your
Mm-hmm.
organizations to be sustainable. Now, again, if this is not for you, please share it with others that you know might be really serious.
And Jen, and we're showing them in a very recent, I'm talking about the ink isn't dry on this program, okay? Very recent program, very successful program, one that has been visited by the CEO of the YMCA himself, okay? Look, it just doesn't get any better than this, because nobody in any of the classes that I've seen, now I'm not going to say that I know everything, but in any classes that I've seen, nobody's actually taken you and what let you see all the intricacies of what goes on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
They've been a little too protective of the information or of the resources or whatever it is, however you want to look at that. And so people get in there and they get a taste of the what you need, the why you need it, but they don't get to see, well, how does it all come together? How does this work? Because, quite frankly, any of you who have ever done anything in the real world knows that whatever you get on a piece of paper, it never works like the piece of paper.
Right.
Never. Okay? There is no step 1, I go here, and then I say this. Step 2, they say this. Step 3, they say this. Step 4, I say this. It doesn't work like that. So you have to understand it and know it at a level so that no matter what is said, oh, I see that we're on this part of the cycle, we'll talk about this. Oh, I see I don't even need to talk about this, we'll talk about this. But when you get so stuck in the step-by-step, you don't hear the cues.
Right.
You don't hear the cues and you don't know the clues as to whether they are ready to graduate to that next step. So then what you do is let me show you my website. They're like, I'm so beyond that website. I don't need to see your website. I need to see where I sign that check. But you're stuck on, let me now sell you on the website, and let me show you my other trinkets over here. Let me show you this there, and let me do a dance for you. And it's like, you've totally missed it, okay? So when you do get that conversation down, you will know, oh, we're at this stage. I don't even need to go through references and all of that. You know what? Oh, I got in front of the right person who made the introduction. It truncates everything else that I would have had to do to prove myself now. Now I have the yes, I just have to be very clear. You also will understand how to strategically put yourself in front of the yes people so that you don't have to go through the grunge work to drag and claw your way up to the top. Why not start at the top? And you start at the top by being very clear, very intentional, and getting out of your own way. Get your ego out of the way. It's not about you at all. And too many people make their processes in life and in business about them. And because of that, your mindset is all whacked out. Okay, no offense to anybody. Your mindset's whacked out about things. And so then you will truncate your own conversation. You will kill your own conversation. You will kill your own destiny because you're so into yourself. But when you get it at a deep level, you understand this program that I created, it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the legacy that it's going to create. And I'm giving you the opportunity of being a part of that legacy. Here's what it entails. Most people get nervous and get afraid of presenting and all of that because they're too much in themselves. Well, what are they going to think about me? How are they going to feel about me? I'm going to be embarrassed if I mess up. And the fact of the matter is that when you are in the right space, you don't care about any of that. You could show up with spinach in your teeth and say, here's the program, spinach all hanging out and everything, because you know it's the program that is going to take precedence. And they're going to look beyond the spinach hanging out of your teeth to hear the program and to understand the impact and say, oh my gosh, yes, that spinach, that person with spinach in their teeth, say yes to them, write them the check. The spinach may actually help you stand out better. Just saying. So get over yourself, and get these tools, get the learning that you need in order to be able to have the relevant conversations. Understand it at that level. And you're going to understand at that level by having real talk with me and Jen about this is what it's all about. This is what it takes. Okay? This is what it takes. All right, I'm going to pop that link in there again.
And take away your lack of knowledge. People always come to me and say, I said, well, you know, why did you start this process? What happened? Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know. Listen, I got to tell you, I hear that at least 50 times, at least 50 times. I didn't know. I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And I say to them, take away what you don't know and fill it with what you do know. Fill it with knowledge. Mm-hmm. Fill it with relevant knowledge. Fill it with people who can pour into you, who've done the work. Yes. Don't rely on people that you know, like, and trust, including Google, who you don't know if they've done it, when they did it, and did they do it successfully. Don't listen to them. Why not invest in your knowledge that can be put up against the test of actually doing it? Yes. It will help you do it. Not think about it, not ponder it, not hesitate over it. And that is where, in my years of experience and having to go into various nonprofits across the country and internationally, when I went to Hot Coffee Mississippi, and I talk a lot about Hot Coffee Mississippi. Have a great day. When I talk about Hot Coffee Mississippi, and it being a place that was super, super small, it had a part-time executive, it had volunteers. It had 2 volunteers that were volunteering 4 hours a week each. Okay. And how were they going to leverage this organization for sustainability's sake? They had to understand, how are we going to do this on a regular basis?
Yes.
They had to invest in what they didn't know how to do.
Yes.
And many of us think, I don't know how to do it. I'm going to stay in that place and then get frustrated, discouraged, and you then want to invite people to join you in your lack of knowing. That's not how you build credibility. That is not how you build sustainability. That is not how you build leverage. That is not how you build firm foundation in your community that you then want to lead, again, guys, from the front. Yes. And we're not trying to talk you into getting in the class. No, our point is the class is available to you if you want to learn the how-to. That's the whole point of this thing.
Exactly.
We're not trying to convince anybody who's not ready to move forward. Because once we're done with this class, oh my gosh, the next things that are coming up, you're not going to be ready for that either.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just saying.
And it's already in the works, y'all. It's,
oh my gosh.
Look. Somebody asked, is there going to be a replay of the class? There is going to be a replay. And for everybody who gets the class before the class, they're going to get the replay at the same price. After the class is done, it shoots up. Okay. Another thing, anybody who is wanting to share this out, share it out on your social, to let everybody know what's going on here. The link for the class, I forgot to actually verbally mention it. It is bit.ly/nonprofit masterclass, and that's capital N, capital M, and capital C. Okay, bit.ly/nonprofit masterclass, capital N, capital M, and capital C. All right, good deal.
All right.
All right.
I think that, are there any other questions? Are there any other questions? Are there any other questions from you?
We've had a lot of great comments.
Yeah.
See, I'll read through some of them, and that way they know that they have not been ignored and that we honor what they're saying. This is great. Let's see. Wow, there's a lot here. Okay. All right, I'm scrolling all the way to the beginning. It's a lot of activity. Okay, do you have a link so I can share this on Blab? Okay, yes, we shared that out. Okay, okay, they're unable. Okay, Nation will share it as soon as the finish. Okay, that was you. Okay. Story must be clear. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. Wow, that is jam-packed. Ouch. Absolutely. Okay. Powerhouse threat. Absolutely. Okay. Okay. DJs. Okay. That was Siobhan. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Blab. Okay, moving through it. Moving through it. Okay. What I'm going to do later on, y'all, is I'm going to get real better. I haven't been on Blab in a while, so I'll be copying and pasting your statements as you go through them. All right. So we got some that said very solid information. Information was jam-packed. Critical information to prevent mistakes and wasted energy. Absolutely. Facts. Yep, this is just all fact, no fluff. Great info here. Share that message. Great. Thank you so much, Side Hustle Coach. Okay, I love this stuff. We do too, as you can tell. Okay, keep them connected and engaged so that it consistently gets out. Absolutely. You have to do that with your organization and with your community. Yes, there will be a replay. Yes, two beasts in the industry. Yes, we are. Okay, let's say high five. This message, I appreciate what they are giving back. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. Okay, high five to all of you. Great, great. Yes, yes. Infectious. Yes, you got to be infectious with your word and your world. Okay, they ignite passion and purpose. Yep. And program funding ballers. Absolutely. Okay. Okay, I need to learn that. Okay, infectious getting folks. There you go. All right, so we got a lot of kudos. A lot of kudos. We answered the question on the replays. Very good. And for all of you who are ready to take that next step, I'm saying you're ready. And you're going to come hydrated, eat your protein and all of that. It is bit.ly/nonprofit masterclass, capitalize N, M, and P. I mean, N, M, and C.
And
all right.
Take advantage of signing in to do the pre-work, because
yes,
the pre-work of the class is really the foundation that you do not want to miss. You
absolutely
do not want to miss the foundation that is going to be laid by the pre-work. I mean, the
yes.
people that already have the pre-work are sitting in the back like, OMG. And the things that you
some of them are angry right now, I could tell.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's necessary. It's a necessary move.
And the ones, the responses, the questions that you don't currently have an answer for, or you don't know how to think through those answers, now you will on Thursday. And that's the exciting part, is that these are not just questionnaires for the sake of asking you questions, but these are questions that we want to know, how much do you know, so that when you come to class, we can start from a place of, all right, you guys already know this or that, or let's expound upon what you think you know. Let's talk about deeper level of understanding of even in these concepts, because again, we want you to walk away with the full depth and breadth of knowledge of not just one perspective, but from the perspectives of the experts that can speak to you about how to think deeper, more intellectually, more intentional, more purposeful about your organization, so that you can leverage it for greater impact.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, well, Jen, as usual, I am elated with what we're doing here. This is the stuff that I have been waiting all my life to do. And I'm not even joking about it, not even remotely. It is not joking, you know, and to be able to get back there and really just pour in all of these years of experience and stuff, you know. For those of you, some of you know part of my story on how I used to work at one of the stations. You know, I used to handle 6 channels and making sure that the schedule for those 6 channels were going properly. I used to deal with between 1,500 to 2,000 producers every single month to make sure that their schedules are on point. I've been on over 1,000 productions myself, you know, so there's a lot of history here that I'm able to now take all of that eclectic knowledge. You know, look, I've worked at McDonald's, I've worked at, I mean, a whole bunch of different places, but each one of those things are a part of the university of life, right? And when you understand what to look for in these different experiences that you have, you can take those things that are tailor-made for your experiences, your life experiences, and implement them on the training that you unleash on your world. So these things have come together in order to give me the insight that I needed in order to be able to understand how to utilize social media. Some of you know that, I took various channels and did some amazing things on YouTube alone, where it's like I've taken on $5 a month, grown followings of 50, 55,000 plus people, very simple techniques, but it's a matter of what do people connect with when you connect with them. We're going to talk about that. I'm so excited about this. But like I said, if you're ready to roll up your sleeves and to really do the work, okay? And we're going to be moving through it, okay? If you're ready to do the work, okay, and you're ready to take your organization to a new level, you're ready to get your organization trained so that they are not afraid of social media. They're not afraid of digital platforms. They're not afraid of stepping out and being the vocal piece of your nonprofit in their world. Because remember, everybody who's in your organization, they have their own spheres of influence. And if they are empowered to speak about your organization and what it is that they're doing, what it is that you're doing in the world, they can speak with that passion to their world, for their world to say, oh my gosh, I need to be a part of this too. How can I help? How can I join? How can I fund this? You become that advocate, that evangelist who is well-equipped and well-equipped to equip. And that's the difference with our course, our masterclass. We're not just giving you information. We're giving you information that will empower you to empower others. That is what's so deep about this. We are mentoring you to mentor others. We are creating perpetuity in what we do here, so that once you finish with our class, you're gonna be like, I got it, and I got it at such a level that I can now tell my staffers, look, this is how we're gonna work this. I can tell my board, this is how we have to handle this. And you will have like a series of folks, and depending on how large your board is, how large your organization is, how many staffers you have, each one of those become a point of entry into a bigger world. If you have 10 people working for you, that is 10 voices out there shouting your praises with 10 leverage points, using different strategies that we're going to go over in the training, understanding how to really effectively use hashtags. Now, Jen, was that an eye opener when we talked about hashtags?
Yes, that was an eye opener. Listen, guys, I'm learning. I'm learning myself, because again, when I started in this work, there were no hashtags. It was just the pound sign. That's all it was. And now the power of the hashtag, the power of drawing attention to your organization. But once the attention has been drawn to you, you've got to be able to then deliver.
Exactly.
And one of the things that we really want to stress, again, is that we want you to plan with purpose. Plan with intentionality, that your day-to-day activities have function and purpose to them. Everything that you do every single day is leading you closer and closer to your financial goal, to your partnership goal, to your collaboration goal, to your leadership goal. So everything that we are helping you to build upon through this masterclass is to build upon the intentionality of, once you've used all these hashtags that Jason is going to teach us about, what then are you going to intentionally deliver beyond that? What are you going to communicate? How are you going to communicate that? What is the impact of that communication? All right. And what do you want the people that see the hashtag, what do you want them to do once they get to you? All right. So again, guys, this is the intentionality and the purpose by which we're teaching you. A lot of randomness happens in the nonprofit world. A lot of randomness and just, busy work, busy activity work that is not producing the fruit of sustainability. It is always a hustle. It's always painful. It's always begging. It's always the message of lack. But there's no plan out of that. There's no real intentional thought of how do we turn the corner on this? What is the process by which we do that? And that's what we're going to be covering And that is one of the things that we want to be able to deliver, and that we will deliver on the class on Thursday.
Yes. All right. Well, Jen, I think we covered it. I'm excited. I'm charged. All right. So if there's no more questions or comments, I think we're going to close out. Okay, so one more time, bit.ly/nonprofit masterclass, capital N, capital M, and capital C. Okay, pop on over there. The link is in the comments section right there, or it's in a post. If you're seeing this in a post, the link is in a post as well. Okay, so wherever you're seeing this, there is a link for you to click on to get to our nonprofit masterclass, the sign up, get that pre-work, and really take it seriously, because it is going to help you when you get to the class to really not feel like there's a whole lot for you to now be overwhelmed about. You're going to be like, okay, all right, okay, now, and it look, let me tell you, it is some work, but you will feel like it's substantial. You're going to come away from that saying, wow, I know this. Not I think I know this. Yeah.
And the truth is, this is work that's necessary.
It is.
Cannot skip over this work. If you have been struggling in your nonprofit organization, it's because you've not done this level of work.
That's right.
And so this is an opportunity for you to do the measured work, the right work, the work that's going to produce and provide for you what you want. Because it's hard enough to work in a nonprofit organization day to day. And it's hard enough to work in it without a plan. Okay? Now that you have a plan, the hard work is not going to go away. But the intention and the purposefulness behind the work and what you're going to see as a result of the work is order, is structure, is goals being met, it's benchmarks being achieved. That while you're doing the work, you are doing it to expect to see the transformation, not only in the lives of the people that you're serving, but also the transformation of your organization in the area of now more impact communicated, now more significant messaging going out, now more conversations around support of your organization. The work is the same. So you're not going to get away from the work, but now we're putting the focus on the type of work that you are going to be able to do and to gain great impact from.
Yes, absolutely. All right, y'all. bit.ly/nonprofit masterclass, capital N, capital M, and capital C. We will see you there. Jen, thank you so much. You're always awesome to hear and to talk to. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to end the recording now. And all right, here we go.